Today in Cannabis News, the Mississippi State Supreme Court overturns a medical cannabis initiative approved by voters. Native American tribes call for peyote to be excluded from psychedelic decriminalization efforts. And the Alabama governor ratifies a statewide medical cannabis legalization law, ending decades-long Republican resistance. It's Wednesday, May 19th, and this is your TRICHOMES Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the TRICHOMES.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, the Clarion Ledger reports that the Mississippi State Supreme Court has ruled to overturn a medical cannabis initiative approved by voters, fueling backlash from Democrats and activist groups. Mississippians interested in growing and dispensing cannabis for medicinal use were making preparations, with some investing millions of dollars in property and structures. Those who qualified under the index of 22 chronic symptoms expected medical cannabis accessibility by August. Some groups have launched a petition while others are organizing a demonstration in June, and one group has advocated for a boycott of the city of Madison, whose mayor filed the lawsuit that was brought to the court. The Supreme Court's decision effectively told the people of Mississippi, "You have no voice, no vehicle for voter initiative, y'all's power is over," said Diesel Blankenship of Mississippians for Medical Marijuana, adding that it's nothing short of erroneous and illegal. Ken Neuberger, executive director of the Mississippi Medical Marijuana Association, said the court effectively overturned the will of the people of Mississippi, adding that patients will now continue the suffering that so many Mississippians voted to end.
And next up, while psychedelic legalization campaigns spread through the United States, a debate has erupted among some activists and indigenous tribes about whether the hallucinatory cactus peyote should be included in decriminalization measures. Although some of the discussion centers on indigenous peoples firmly rooted religious ties with peyote, the key matter that needs addressing agreed upon by both sides is the over-harvesting contributing to the cacti's precipitous decline. Peyote crops reach maturity in 7 to 12 years, rendering the plant particularly susceptible to supply conflicts as demand rises. The Indigenous Peyote Conservation Communication Committee, or IPCCC, stated in a letter that proposals to decriminalize psychedelics statewide or locally shouldn't include peyote, as it would be very disruptive to the conservation work in which Indigenous Americans have long been engaged. This conservation effort includes regulatory and legal measures designed to ensure biocultural conservation. It is important this effort not be interrupted or diluted. Individual, state, or local decriminalization efforts that include peyote can be disruptive to the nationwide strategy driven by Native American people to protect, conserve, and ensure the spiritual and ecological sustainability of peyote, says IPCCC.
Last up, ending decades of contention, Alabama State Governor Kay Ivey ratified a medical cannabis legalization law this week as Republican resistance to the matter diminished. Last February, the state Senate passed the measure with a 21-8 vote, following only 15 minutes of deliberation. The state House, on the other hand, has a history of being critical of medical cannabis legislation, and the measure had to go through 2 committees until approved with a 68-34 vote. Citizens with a qualified health condition, including cancer, chronic pain, depression, epilepsy, panic disorder, and terminal illness, will be able to buy medical cannabis with a physician's prescription under the program. The legislation comes 8 years following a medical cannabis proposal in the State House, winning the 2013 Shroud Award for the year's deadest proposal. Ivey declared the measure's approval an important first step and praised its proponents for their efforts. This is certainly a sensitive and emotional issue and something that is continually being studied. On the state level, we have a study group that has looked closely at this issue, and I am interested in the potential good medical cannabis can have for those with chronic illnesses, or what it can do to improve the quality of life for those in their final days, Governor Ivey said. Representatives chose to name the legislation after the son of Democratic Representative Laura Hall. After their son, Wesley Addo Hall, died of AIDS, they sponsored a medical cannabis proposal for the first time over a decade back.
And that was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals, and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit TRICHOMES.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, careers in cannabis, or the international cannabis conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm Devin Leal.
And I'm David Fortin. Catch you next time.